All right, Adam. So the red light just came on. A lot of people bail because this is high pressure podcasting right now. You want to go forward? You want to go through it?
I'm feeling the tension already. We're okay though. I'll be
Yeah,
okay.
he's
I
feeling
just
it.
had to give
He's
my
gonna go
kids
through
shot.
it,
I just
everybody.
take my kids for flu shots. I can handle this. I can handle this.
You can handle this. This is nothing. Yeah, this is all easy here. Well, let's start off with why don't you do me a favor? Tell my listeners in 90 seconds who you are and what your company does.
Yep. I'm Adam Zec, President CEO, co-founder of MyStandard. MyStandard aims to allow people to own, share, and monetize their data, taking away a lot of the power from the middlemen who control, profit, and share our data at their own degree whenever they like. And obviously, there's a lot of impacts for doing this. The biggest being that we shorten the cycle of taking the time it takes for companies to get the data they need from weeks to moments by going directly to the source who is the data, as opposed to going through somebody else to eventually find and get to your data. And then we provide an incentive structure that allows people to share their information, get paid for it, but also allows them to stay private if they like. So we allow you to keep your data in play in a very privacy preserving way.
That's cool. So, what's the origin story here? How did we get here? I can see the problem that you're solving here.
Yeah.
Everything's in the data world now.
Yep.
But what is your? How did you want to get into this? How'd you get to here?
Yeah. I was helping an organization, which I can't name, with an EEOC issue where they were hiring people or not hiring people based off the color of their skin. They got caught for it. They got their hands slapped, and was trying to consult with them around things they can do, technologies they can use to allow for a better equal opportunity hiring process. And there just isn't one. Think about your LinkedIn profile. They could see what your face looks like. They can see who your name is. They can see your college. They can make all sorts of judgments about you and never call you, and you never know.
Hmm.
So we started MyStandard as a way for you to be able to find a job, get a full fair shot for every position, but they don't get to actually see any of that information that could induce bias until after you also agree to share your information and get paid for it. So we didn't get rid of bias because you can't do that, but we kicked bias down the field. And then we built this on the blockchain so that there's a public record of everything. So they can never say, oh, we never called you or never reached out to you. You have a blockchain record that is immutable that you could share. It says, you did call me, you did look at my information, and you chose not to call me. And so it puts the onus and the spotlight on that interaction between the user and the organization, and there's no way for them to essentially deny that ever happened. So yeah, it's an ingenuitive way for us to help companies and people connect. In our first use case, which is talent acquisition, it isn't so broad as just all data. It's just talent acquisition right now. If you join MyStandard, you'll be able to be fit for jobs. Say yes or no. If you want to share information, you can. If you choose not to share information, you can stay anonymous. If you choose to share information, you get paid. If you say, I don't want them to know who I am, you don't get paid. So the incentive structure is there to help encourage people to share their information, but you don't have to.
Sure. Well, how does that work about the getting paid for data? I got to imagine most people's ears were like, "What? What does that mean?"
Yeah, so if you are asked by an employer to share your full profile, you'll make $22.50 for sharing your information. That's if you share all the data about you. So they might ask for 4 or 5 things about you, but you only want to share 3 things about you. That's fine too. You only have to share, there's some minimal amount of data you have to share, and after that, it's completely up to the user how much they want to share and how much more they get paid for sharing more data. But imagine you just like sitting at lunch, phone beeps, it says IBM is interested in you for this job. You know you're a fit for it because you wouldn't be matched up in the system if you weren't. Do you want to share information with IBM? If you say yes, you just made $23 estimated, and if you say no, then you just stay anonymous. They don't actually know that you said no to them, and you can move on with your day. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like a dating app. Swipe right, get
Yeah.
paid, share information. Swipe left, don't get paid, but stay anonymous. So you could be like on LinkedIn today, if you're a really high quality employee, let's say you're an AI engineer right now, like you're getting hit every single minute, every single day with recruiters and staffing firms and companies. There's no friction, right? So they're just constantly bombarding you and you just ignore everything. On this platform, you might get a data request from us. You know it's real because they had to put collateral. They had to put some money in place to actually contact you. So you know they put some skin in the game to even contact you. And if you say no, they never get to know who you are. So you
Hmm.
can have a
Hmm.
an amazing profile MyStandard. Nobody knows about it until you say, yeah, I do want to share my information. You can say no 99 times in a row, but that 100th one is actually something you're interested in. At that moment, you might want to share your data. It
Interesting.
gives a lot more control to people.
Yeah. And I guess this feels like it's a big initiative though to kind of get this idea in the system out. What are steps 1 and 2 to get people using it, understanding it,
Yeah.
understanding how to put the data in? How do you get this thing off the ground?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's a few ways to answer that, but the first I'm going to say is that we first had to prove the tech works. We built everything
Hmm.
from scratch. It took about 4 years, almost $1.5 million in R&D spend just to make the software work scale, can do not just the talent acquisition use case, but a lot of other use cases that we'll be tackling afterwards. So first step, get the tech to work. Now we're going to be going through a little bit of a renaissance of the app to make it easier for people to sign up. So we know it works. Now we're going to make it easier for you to actually get engaged. So that is actually happening real time right now. The third step is we're going to be doing a 90-day from here after the app upgrade is done, a big 90-day marketing push. So you'll be able starting to see MyStandard in more radio or TV. You'll be seeing us on more, more influencers talking about us, that whole thing. Just to kind of create this awareness of like, hey, why don't I just make a profile here? It's free, and then I get paid for my data if someone asks for it. So that's kind of step one. Step two is we're going to be launching another product called data stores, where brands like Nielsen, who is an example of someone we're talking to, are going to launch a little real estate within MyStandard and tell their network, tell their community, tell their customers, join MyStandard, join the Nielsen data store. And why you joining that data store, there's going to be new ways for people to profit off their data and also engage with Nielsen real time. Any company can do this with us. We're in talks with a lot of really well-known brands, and they're bringing their networks in. So now we're kind of having our own marketing pull and push of people joining the app, along with these brands who are bringing their customers and community into the app for a number of reasons, which we can talk about at another time. I know that we're not getting into the weeds too much here, but so we're kind of hitting it from both fronts, a very strategic front along with like a more marketing, level front. The last thing is everybody who joins is going to get paid. We're going to start sending out rewards to people just for being on the app, for setting up profiles, and people are going to be making some capital that way. And then when we launch our referral system, you'll get paid even more when your friends and family join the app. So there's going to be a lot of ways that we kind of spider out strategically, marketing, using our own community, things like that.
Yeah. And do you see this like, as for we're trying to visualize this, right?
Of course.
For our listeners and stuff. So are we integrating into platforms that exist already, maybe the LinkedIns of the world, the Meta, the Indeeds, the maybe big job searches, or is this something that's a standalone, maybe like a sidecar to these, to these talent acquisition firms?
I would say it's a standalone. It's a sidecar. It's a new platform that has a new approach to how we are storing the data. I think one of the big things about what we've created here and why it took so long to make this is you actually own your data here. Like there's a lot of places that say own your data, make profit of your data, but you actually are just putting your data on their AWS server. We architected a solution so that your data is on the blockchain in a decentralized, abstracted way so that your key, which is when you unlock the phone, is the only way that data can be accessed. I don't have a backdoor to it. MyStandard can't see your data. I can't use it. I can't abuse it. And when you share your data with an organization, it doesn't even hit our servers then. It actually goes through a way we architected it so that your data goes from you to the company without ever even touching our servers, so we don't even have a moment to abuse your data. We spend a lot of time on this because we care about it that deeply. The security that comes with that sort of approach is unmatched. It's completely different than what's been made before. Someone could hack our server and there's nothing there for them to see. As opposed to hacking LinkedIn's server, which has happened, I think, 7 times or so in the past. And all of a sudden, you're like, people can see your address and they'll have and you get scam calls and scam opportunities and things like that. So we really spent a lot of time to make it so that trust is inherent, security is inherent in a way that's never been done before. And then you get to kind of put your data to work through all these mechanisms and opportunities and data stores and things we're going to be creating. The ultimate vision here, guys, it's a black hole for your data. Everything about who you are should go in here because you own it. You're just putting more of your data into play. If you transfer from hospital system to hospital system, I could take my medical records with me. I could share them myself. If I'm applying for a loan, I could pre-credit check myself. I have all that data with me. I could do it myself. I don't have to go to another firm to verify information about me because that data is already with me on my app. It shortens the cycle of getting things done.
Yeah.
And that creates
am I updating that data? Am I updating that data as I go, as life's changing and shifting?
And it will be incentivizing that whole thing. Hey, it's been 3 months since you've updated your talent acquisition profile. Do so today, only make $5. Like, we are the incentivization behind all the actions and outcomes that we're looking to have done. Incentives drive outcomes. In today's world, we lack the proper incentives for even just finding a job or background checks or all those things. And without the proper incentives, things take time. Things are not being pushed, or we've removed too much friction, and now we have like inefficient capital markets, AI resumes, AI generated profiles. There's AI automated application. For every open job on LinkedIn, there's 5,000 average applications. Like, recruiters can't even deal with it. So now they're buying new AI to deal with the AI. It's a mess. So we're adding a little bit of friction in there, which is getting paid for your data, and it creates an efficient marketplace.
Yeah, it's cool. I guess let's talk maybe about making money. Like, obviously we're talking about it going out, but how does it come in? Who's the customer in this? And how does that work?
Yeah, so companies that are making data requests fuel the platform's monetary and monetization engine here.
Mhm.
And so when a company comes into the platform, they are putting collateral into the platform that then finds its way downstream to people over time. On top of that, we're creating other money-making opportunities for people because we are a decentralized platform. People will be able to, it's maybe too complex, but you'll be able to like run validators and help with secure the network and receive rewards for doing these things. This is the advantages of building in a Web3 like software stack. But the way we architected the platform, it's made for like the non-Web3 native can use it, interact with it, join it, and they won't even know or care. And so there's a lot of various ways that people will be able to make money, but ultimately it comes from the companies that will be fueling this engine because this is a more efficient use of their dollar. And when you create a more
Gotcha.
efficient use for a company's dollar, they gravitate there. And also they don't expire. Your searches don't expire. It's not like a LinkedIn agreement where you spend $1 million for a year, and every day that goes by, you're not making hires, you're losing value. On us, your searches never expire. If everybody says no, let's say you send a data request out to 10 people and everybody just says, no, I don't want to share my data, you just don't pay anything. So the worst case scenario on MyStandard is you don't pay anything, as opposed to like all the other platforms out there. So it's really budget conscious for organizations. We would come from that world. So I was consulting that world for like, I don't know, 14 years or so before we started this company. My co-founder is a recruiter for 20 years. He used all these tools. We know what how bad this industry is. We created something that really fixes a lot of the inefficiencies that are in it. But then it also is going to expand out to more data use cases, like I described, than just talent acquisition over time.
And is this, I saw some terms around, token economics. Is this kind of what we're discussing right now? Is the tokenization of this and having all these different channels, especially to make money?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, token fuels the value on the platform, but tokens are, if we built this platform 5 years ago, this would have been pretty much impossible because tokens were very rigid. In today's world, there's a lot of off-ramping ways for you to get value from your token into your bank account. There's, I don't know, we're built on Avalanche. Avalanche is a very big blockchain and one of our biggest investors. And Avalanche has a credit card you can use. So you just have value in your wallet, and you can go and spend it just like you would anywhere else, like any other cash. We can do that with MyStandard tokens. I'm actually talking to a company right now who can integrate their tech into our platform, and you could buy plane tickets using your MyStandard token. So tokens are becoming abstracted as well, and it's just going to be about value ultimately. Right now, it's we're going to abstract all that complexity for our users.
Right. And how are you guys sitting right now as you're building this, thinking about partnerships as to, is it more tech partnerships? Is it more companies using it? Like what does partnership just look like in general?
Yeah, there's a few ways to answer that. Like on the Web3 side, there's all sorts of partnerships you can make to enhance your infrastructure, give your community more ways to interact with other communities, things like that. My biggest focus right now is getting more clients to sign up for the platform. So we haven't started announcing clients yet. We did our brand activation event about 2 months ago with the World Series of Poker. We had sponsored a couple poker players, did a big poker contest, got a huge amount of press and users for our platform. And then we've been a little bit quiet. And then when we launched that 90-day marketing campaign, we'll start announcing our clients. But my biggest focus right now is getting more client users on there to make more data requests, job requests into users' profiles. We're even doing a little thing right now since it's so early and we're just starting this marketplace up where we'll sponsor their first job data requests. Like I'll send them the tokens necessary so that they can just use the platform and just log in and make data requests to people. They don't have to worry about the value or paying us anything right now. And that seems to be going really well. We have some big brands involved. We have some startups involved. Big brands where yellow tape takes more time, but I never hear that this is not something they want. Like every client I talk to, from Johnson & Johnson to IBM's, like the big ones, are like, yeah, this sounds like a dream because they can't make hires today on LinkedIn because of all the inefficiencies. And what do they end up doing? Staffing agencies. And the staffing agencies, 30% of the person's first year salary. So you're paying $30,000 for a $100,000 job, and then their budgets get blown out. So we're solving all those inefficiencies. So we just need to kind of keep it going and really go after the go-to-market strategy that I outlined.
Yeah. And how do you think, as you're building up, this Web 2 and Web 3 world, it seems like, correct?
Yeah, Web 2.5, they call it.
Yeah. How are you thinking about just the user abilities, kind of dummy proofing it for people to just get it and understand it? It feels like that level of being comfortable with devices and stuff is just all over the place for most people.
Yes.
I'm in tech. The amount of calls I take, I'm like, oh my God, just push the blue button. How do you guys think about that though, as you're designing and building this sort of stuff so people can just, use it and
yeah.
and
Well,
get the most out of it.
well, here's lucky for me. I don't know, lucky for me, but my mom is the ideal user for me to make this tech work for. All right. And my mom was visiting us recently, and I looked at her phone and I saw the MyStandard app there, and she has a profile. So we mission accomplished. Like, we were able to make something that my mom, who's not mobile friendly, not mobile
Yeah.
first, not tech oriented or anything, is actually a Web3 user and doesn't even know it. So, like, we did it. It took a long
so funny.
time to do it, man. That's one of the reasons why we spent the money we spent, like solving the edge cases we solved, and really try to make something that you can, like, anybody can join. You don't have to be a
Yep.
Web3 guru to do it.
It's hilarious. That's my it's like my number one thing when I get clients and I'm working with they're raising capital. I go, I need my mom to understand what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And and her name's Cookie. I'm like, if Cookie doesn't understand what you're doing, we're not raising capital because
Dude.
nobody's got time, right? And if she's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
What's next?
Put your data, put your information in here, and if there's a better job that you're available for, you're going to get a notification about it. That's it. That's the explanation of my mom. And then if you share information, you get paid for it. But, you know, like, for her, she doesn't care about that. Like, she just wanted, like, but she likes to know, like, if there's a better job out there for me, I wouldn't mind hearing about it. And so that's what we lean into. The whole getting paid for your data will resonate with some people. Definitely will. But it doesn't need to be like the only narrative we talk about here.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit. So a couple of the things I saw too, and if I'm off, I was doing some research before this, but something about the data validation around AI and how you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what that meant? It was intriguing what I was reading about it. I think it was in one of your white papers.
Awesome. Yeah.
Just maybe for our listeners, kind of talk a little bit about, you know, what that means in today's world of whatever AI is right now.
Yeah. No, that's great. So one of the, I'll just set it up this way. One of the most exciting things about building this company is people bring things to us. Like, have you thought of doing this? As an example, like, we're talking to somebody who works for the government in Ireland around helping Irish citizens change energy providers for their home in a privacy-preserving way. Never would have thought of that in a million years. They thought they saw our tech, they saw what we were doing, like, could it do this? It could. Same thing happened with AI. So somebody came to us and said, hey, the guy actually works for ChatGPT, and he's looking at we're looking at bringing him in on as an advisor and make some connections to the company there. But the sense is, like, AI is kind of grabbing whatever's publicly available on people, and there's not like a check of, like, is this information actually true? And it's causing some errors within what AI represents, and then causes mistrust. And once you lose trust, you lose everything, right? MyStandard will be kind of this data validation layer that sits between what AI thinks it knows about you and your background, your company, or whatever, and what's actually true. And you're going to have the opportunity to then permission it and say, yeah, validate this information on me. And then the AI platforms would actually pay people for that access to their data to validate the information. You choose what information you want to have validated, and you can have it permission to be sent to them so that they can be like, yes, okay, now we know this is the source of truth. Why not have the source of truth about people be the person? And right now, if you type in who's Adam Zec on ChatGPT, I'm sure it's going to have its own description of me, but there should be a moment, a sort of gut check. Like, is this true? And AI should be able to find Adam Zec and say, hey, we think we know these things about you. Can you just confirm it with us? Pay you to do it. And that's where MyStandard kind of sits in.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That is like it is a weird layer of, like, SEO to some degree, right? You know, how AI or ChatGPT has come out and said they were pulling from Reddit for a little bit. Then it's Google. Yeah, like, we don't really know where they're, I don't know. I'm reading an article.
I agree. And it's just one of those things where I get excited around this company because data ownership changes everything. And I mean that literally. Like, we started off in this talent acquisition world, and if we're successful, it's a huge $130 billion industry. We could be $1 billion business there. Then you start layering in medical records and energy providers and insurance providers, and the idea that you can use this app to have a data validation and AI. These are multiple $1 billion businesses that could be built in one ecosystem, one app that kind of does it all. And it's very exciting to build this because someone who's listening to this is going to spark an idea, and they're going to be like, well, what if it could do this? Bring it to me. Because that could be another $1 billion business. I had a really cool, the guy who's helping renovate my home, he's a real estate agent. And he's like, have you guys thought about doing this for real estate? And I was like, I've never thought of doing it for real estate, but that actually makes a lot of sense. And he outlined the whole thing. So maybe we call Century 21 and have them do a data store to do real estate on the platform. Like, there really is a lot of ways we can work with this model and this tech. And I think it all starts down with trust, right? It's like, people need to know that this company, we cannot abuse your data. It's like, trust us. You can put your data in this. The government can come to me one day, say, we want all the information on Jeff that you got in his profile. And I can say, I can't share anything. I don't have his keys. Go to Jeff. He'll unlock his phone, and then he'll share his information with you. But I can't do it. And once people start to see that, I think they're going to be like, well, I trust this company. I trust this platform. Like, let me put more into this. And then it just becomes unstoppable.
Yeah. Well, we've kind of talked a lot about maybe this next year around, some of the plans? What is 3 years out and maybe potentially even 5 years out? I know it could all change tomorrow, but like, how do you sort of see what are those
Yeah.
roadmaps looking like in terms of like pitch decks and just we want to be here and here on our KPIs and stuff?
Yeah. That's great. We want to launch. So right now we are fundraising right now. We're doing a safe round. It's a minor safe round. It's not even that big. Our next round is going to be a Series A. So next year, sometime later in the year, most likely, we'll do a Series A, a proper one. And we feel like we're going to get one step short on all of our metrics. So that's what the safe is. The safe round is our last opportunity to buy MyStandard equity at a discount, to get to the metrics that we want as far as user growth, product placement, marketing, all those things. So after that, the next year we'll be going global. Right now we're only in the United States. We haven't even touched global yet. We'll be launching data stores next year. And then when you start thinking the 3 to 5 years, that's when I want MyStandard to actually step away from building on the platform directly and be the only one who can build on the platform, and turning the keys over to the community, turning the keys over to the ecosystem and saying, what other data use cases do you envision on MyStandard that you want to build, and incentivizing people to participate and vote on which ones get brought into the platform. So this it kind of takes a life of its own. And then MyStandard, we kind of let the ecosystem grow naturally. We build on top of it as well. We're just another builder at that point, but we're not like running the show on the way the direction of the company, the direction of the ecosystem, by having the sort of voting, organic, community, user-driven approach to letting people really participate in the growth. And I think that's in the more the 5-year time frame when this becomes like truly the everything app, because if you turn it over to the world's imagination of all the things that this app can do. I don't think there's a single market out there that's not going to get disrupted. It's to some extent, right, when we get to that point. And then it becomes like the community platform, the people's platform, because we ultimately want people to own, share, and monetize their own data. So it becomes the people's platform, and people are currently fueling $1.3 trillion of yearly spend into Web2 companies for data. Now we turn out $1.3 trillion into earnings for the people. And I think that becomes very powerful at that point.
Yeah. So you just mentioned about getting into Europe. How does data and privacy laws already change based on the United States, I guess Europe, even California is a little bit different, right? So like just how are we sort of approaching, it doesn't really even matter since people are putting it in.
That's the best part.
What does that look like?
Yeah, right now it's all like if you get data on people, you collect it on them, you have to tell them where it's being used, you have to allow them to permission to stop being used, and all these, there's a lot of complexity with the way that you owning everyone's data does. Like in Europe, GDPR, and then in the California Privacy Act really try to hit those head on. In our platform, what data you put into it because you put it in there. You know who's looking at it because you permissioned it. And is MyStandard ever taking your data and doing anything with it, advertising to you or selling it or anything? No, because I can't see it. So we're really inherently built to those specifications of those two areas, and that's going to get even more strict. And I think it's going to be hard for companies like the LinkedIn's, et cetera, to adapt their they just got, as an example, in Europe, LinkedIn now has to allow you to connect to your other external apps to your LinkedIn profile to take that data out. That happened recently. That would be great for us, right? Because you could just hit a button and connect to your LinkedIn profile and have all your data on there. In the US, they haven't had that happen yet. So they're going to have to adapt to these things as opposed to intrinsically being made for it. It'll be an advantage for us as we scale.
So I guess who's your enemy in all of this? Is it the Facebooks of the world, the Metas? Like, who is going, oh no, I don't want this. You know what I mean? Who is that right now?
No, it's the Facebooks and the Metas and anybody who relies on banner advertising, because that's your data being used to fuel that stuff. Obviously, the LinkedIns and Indeeds are probably threatened by this. I think the staffing firms are a little threatened by this because we're essentially delivering validated information with speed and haste. Which is what a staffing firm can do. I think we're going to have a lot of enemies, to be honest, as we go, because we're kind of going after their product, which is people's data. That's LinkedIn is a $15 billion company built off your data. You are their product. If people take their data out of LinkedIn, they have nothing. They're just another social network. At that point, if people aren't finding jobs on LinkedIn anymore. And we're not trying to be a social media platform, right? I think social media needs to have its own section of your digital life and aptitude. But at the end of the day, if I watch TikTok ads, I am giving TikTok's using my data to send me an ad, right? So TikTok is monetizing my data and my time and my attention. Well, we're going to do that too. We're going to allow people to monetize their data, their time, and their attention in the near future so that people can watch commercials or masterclass about things, but they're getting paid to do it as opposed to being the product. So we really are kind of doing something which is going to make a lot of organizations and people upset, but that's what disruption is, right? I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
that's the
100%.
whole idea of it. And it's not going to be up only, it's going to be a ride, and I'm here for it. We've already been doing this for almost 5 years. We started this thing in 2021 officially, and the idea hit me in October of 2020 on the dot. So yeah, I'm about 5 years into this. We're here for the long haul.
That's cool. So if people are listening and they're interested, how do they jump in, learn more, and try to, dive into your world here a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best way to kind of get a feel for how we're talking about ourselves and representing ourselves in updates is on our official X. We do a lot of updates there. We have a Telegram community. It's got like 2,500 people or something like that in there. 2,100 people, sorry, in there right now. And it's consistently growing as people start to get excited around this idea of data ownership. I mean, community is very important for us. And so we do spend a lot of time with them. Those are the two best ways. If you're interested in talking to me directly, obviously, you can email me at info@mybe.com and have an opportunity to just reach out to me individually, connect me on LinkedIn. We do some things on LinkedIn. There's going to be, like I said, that 90-day marketing push is going to happen after we finish this app upgrade. And then you'll be seeing a lot more content about us all over the place, podcasts and everything like that. So
awesome. Well, Adam, I appreciate you taking time out.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, this was great. Yeah, it's fascinating. As even in my world, I have a data component at just like every other company. Who am I sending stuff to, right? At the end of the day. So it is fascinating just to kind of hear your thoughts and philosophies on it. And it's one of those ones too, man. We got a letter, my wife and I did. Our data was breached from our mortgage company, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, Equifax got hit. I mean, our social security numbers and the credit scores are everywhere. So let's kind of not be okay with that anymore and get MyStandard. Make it your standard. It's my standard. It should be yours too.
Yeah, it is wild that it has become what I don't even what do you want me to do? I know
You're powerless, man.
Yeah. You're like, all right, cool.
So
what's next?
Let's start to take control of it and then really take control of it is kind of the mentality here.
That's
but yeah,
awesome.
I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, there's ways for people like yourself, people want to reach out to you for advice or whatever. They should have a way to do that. And you should be able to accept their bid or not accept their bid. So your time is valuable, so
100%.
We're hopefully able to help content creators like yourself.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So all my listeners out there, obviously I'll have all the links in the show notes.
Okay.
So obviously go jump in, dive in, click and connect. This is a really great conversation, very fascinating, and wishing you nothing but the best in the future here. And I'll be watching from over here. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Jeff.